Hello, I'm Bob Ryan. Welcome to the weekly Rewind. This week, the title is Does Close Count? So here we go. Does close count? I'm not talking about your younger days in the front seat with your honey. No, I'm not talking about that. I mean in the sports world. Take a look when it counts and when it doesn't. Our first topic. Zeus, striving to get national recognition, came close, but fell short in another close game. The 17-10 loss to number 10 ranked Vanderbilt was a tough one in several ways. In the third quarter, close to the goal line, Mizzou tried using a quarterback keeper after faking a pitch outside. The quarterback headed up the middle. On that particular play, quarterback Bo Pribula suffered a serious ankle injury. The medical staff had to pop his ankle back into place. Man, that makes me grimace just hearing it. He's out for the year now. He's done. It doesn't look good for Mizzou. Several SEC games that really count for a lot are on the horizon. Late in that game, Vanderbilt scored a TD with less than 2 minutes to go to grab a 17-10 lead. This close game was far from being over. With no timeouts and facing the final seconds of the game, Mizzou's freshman backup quarterback Matt Zollers threw a 36-yard Hail Mary pass. The pass was caught by wide receiver Kevin Coleman Jr., but he was tackled less than a yard short of the goal line. Time expired before another play could be run, sealing the 17-10 loss for the Tigers. In addition to the two losses, the early Mizzou meaningless wins against a weak threesome of Central Arkansas, Louisiana, and UMass, coupled with the narrow overtime win over Auburn, as well as the fourth quarter come-from-behind win versus South Carolina, doesn't do much to strengthen the Tigers' hopes of reaching the NCAA 12-team playoffs. With the loss, MU has dropped to being tied for 8th in the SEC standings at this moment. But Mizzou isn't the only NCAA team that is disappointed. In the preseason polls, Missouri wasn't picked to be in the top 10 or top 15 for that matter by most polls. But some teams who were chosen in the top 20 have fallen badly and no longer in the top 20. For example, no longer in the top 20 is Penn State, who originally was picked in the opening poll at number 2. Clemson, who was ranked as high as number 4 in preseason, is out of the top 20. Arizona State, chosen for number 11 slot, can't be found in the top 20 either. Illinois, 5-3 record, has thrown them out of the top 20. On the other side of the ledger, the surprise good teams have arrived on the scene. For example, expectations were nowhere close to the outstanding play of Indiana football, who is now 8-0 for the season and 5-0 in conference. The Hoosiers wiped out UCLA 56-6 last Saturday. Indiana is now ranked number 2 in the NCAA National Football polls. It was 49-6 after 3 quarters, so the Hoosiers really could have made it much worse. But apparently they emptied the bench in good sportsmanship, and now they hold a 4-0 conference record. Next title. One NCAA game that seemed close to having no defense at all was the Texas-Mississippi State game. There was a total of 872 total offensive yards in this exciting game. While Texas is not even close, not at all, to living up to their preseason hype, where several polls had them ranked at number 1. They're still a good team, even though they're not close to being number 1. Now at number 22, the Longhorns scored 24 points in the fourth quarter for a come-from-behind win to beat Mississippi State 45-38 in overtime. Texas' Ryan Niblett returned to punt 79 yards to tie the game with just 1:47 left to play in the fourth quarter, as Texas erased a 31 deficit 14 after 3 quarters. The Longhorns, who are now 6-2 and 3-1 in the Southeastern Conference, still trailed 38-21 with 12:29 remaining in regulation. This game really belonged to Mississippi State for most of the game. The Bulldogs, who are now 4-4 and 0-4 in conference, they were looking for their first conference win, were led by quarterback Blake Shapen, who had a career game. He threw for 26 of 42 passes for 381 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Bulldogs piled up a total of 445 yards of total offense. If the Bulldogs can hold that 500 or higher mark, they'll be a very, very attractive bowl team with their powerful offense that piles up points. Next topic. Ironically, Texas quarterback Arch Manning left the game after one play in the overtime, after diving for extra yards and absorbing huge hits from 2 Mississippi State defenders at the end of his 13-yard scramble. As he was brought down, Manning's head appeared to bounce off the turf. That's not a good sign when you hit the turf straight on. Backup quarterback Matthew Caldwell came in and threw a 10-yard touchdown to Emmett Mosley V to finish the Longhorns' stunning comeback, in which they rallied from a 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter to send the game into overtime. Texas kept the momentum and Manning on the bench as they rallied over Mississippi State 45-38. Moving on. The dominance of the 2 top conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten, is evident in the weekly football polls, and it's not even close. And it does matter in this case. This week, 8 of the top 10 teams are from these 2 conferences. Moving on. St. Louis sports fans continue to keep the St. Louis U men's soccer team close to their hearts as they follow their success. Again, this year, St. Louis U clinched a share of the 18-10 soccer championship. They're holding an 8-2-4 overall record, along with a sparkling 5-0-1 conference record, and they provided plenty of close scores in 4 of the Billiken wins were by 1 goal this year. Next topic. In the World Series, yes, we're still in the last week of October and we're still having MLB games. The Dodgers won last night in an unbelievable 18-inning, 6-5 game. Freddie Freeman's walk-off home run ended this terrific game. But the star was Shohei Ohtani, who continued his unbelievable World Series as he's reached base 9 times. That's not a typo, 9 times already. Of course, he's walked each of his last 5 at-bats. And here's some observations. The Dodgers have been saved by their starting pitcher, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. His Game 2 might have saved the Dodgers' championship hopes altogether. He was utterly dominant again, becoming the first pitcher since Curt Schilling in 2001 to toss consecutive complete games in the postseason. There hadn't even been one complete game in the postseason since Justin Verlander threw one in the 2017 ALCS. Much less a superior outing like this one, the Dodgers must avoid overexposing their bullpen, since it isn't a strong point for them. Yamamoto ensured that happened in Game 2. The Dodgers' batting leaders have not even been close to their usual batting marks that were expected, and I'm being kind when I say that. After 3 games, the Dodgers hold a paltry .219 team batting average and have struck out 33 times with a woeful on-base percentage of .324. Some key players are also suffering at the plate. Mookie Betts holds a .133 average. Freddie Freeman's at .221, and Max Muncy's hitting .143. Ohtani has 3 home runs in the series, and he's a red-hot 6 for 12 in his total at-bats. Meanwhile, Mookie Betts is 2 for 15. Last year, Freeman entered the World Series with one RBI and then drove in 12 against New York. This year, Freeman entered the World Series with 1 RBI in the postseason, but he seems to be warming up with his walk-off home run in Game 3. The Cardinals were blessed by having Stan Musial excel for such a long period of time. No Cardinal, in my opinion, has come close to Stan in batting performance over a long period of time. Stan's year-by-year batting numbers show a consistent career of 22 years with a long peak performance from mid-1940s to the mid to late 1950s, including a .426 batting average in 1941 and a .357 average in 1943. Can you imagine anyone hitting that in the big leagues currently? His performance remained strong for years, with his average dipping below 300 for the first time in 1959 when he was 39 years old. First time under 300. But he still had a strong season down the road with his .330 average in 1962. He retired after the 1963 season with the lowest batting average of his career, .255. But he finished his career of 21 plus seasons with a batting average of an incredible .331. 21 years. Wow. To give you an idea how good that is, this year in 2025, Trey Turner won the batting title with an average of .304. It must be noted that the .304 mark is the lowest ever for a National League batting champion. Not too many years ago, that .304 mark wouldn't have been anywhere close to the batting title, probably not even in the top 10. Well, I'm close to the end now. If you enjoyed this Rewind, please pass the word to your family and friends. I'm past 10 years of the Rewind, and we're hoping to keep growing. Thanks for watching. Please leave your comments below.